All right, happy Saturday, y'all. Happy Saturday. It is a very rare thing that you get a video from me on a Saturday, but we just got the first batch of the Epstein files released yesterday, and I want to show you all of it. I do not want to wait until Monday, so here we are. A lot of stuff to get to. So first, let's start with this. Prem Thakur points out. So the Epstein files are, number 1, not complete. Number 2, comically redacted. Number 3, not in a searchable format. The Trump-Vance administration had months to recover from the embarrassing influencer binder photo op, and this is what they came up with. This is what they think of you. So he's exactly right here. They are very clearly violating not only the letter of the law, but also the spirit of the law. And this is them gumming up the works. This is them clearly doing something illegal and hoping that they're going to get away with it. So as you can see, Prem literally points out the section of the law. It says, in general, not later than 30 days after the date of enactment of this act, the Attorney General shall, subject to subsection B, make publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format all unclassified records. So we're going to talk about this in a little bit too, but it looks like there might actually be some consequences and some justice for the fact that they released this in a completely and utterly and obviously illegal way. Now, having said that, there are still things in here that they messed up and they accidentally forgot to redact because they're incredibly incompetent and they let it slip through the cracks. And so there's actually a lot of juicy findings in this, even though what they were trying to do was effectively cover it all up. So before I go any further, let me show you this. Let me remind you of this. James O'Keefe, who used to be with Project Veritas, this right-wing journalist, he now has left Project Veritas. He did an undercover date with somebody, or he had, a female worker do an undercover date with somebody who works at the DOJ. And this person accidentally spilled the tea and said the quiet part out loud and let us know exactly what was going on behind the scenes with the Trump regime and what they're doing with the Epstein files. So listen to this.
Well, those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal, Democratic people in those files.
Okay, so the Department of Justice acting deputy chief Joseph Schnitt said on the Epstein files, quote, they'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files and leave all of the liberal Democratic people in those files. So he was admitting up front what we all suspected. That, remember, there was that article that came out very early on in the Trump regime that they had ordered the FBI to redact Trump's name in the Epstein files. Now, I should also point out, when the Epstein estate was subpoenaed and 23,000 Epstein emails were released, guess who was the number one person referenced in those emails? It was Donald Trump. Out of 23,000 emails, he was referenced about 1,600 times more than anybody else, and they want you to believe that he wasn't referenced at all in the Epstein files. Okay, more. This is Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, and you guys remember this. He was on News Nation, and he said he knows that they're sanitizing the files and removing Republican names. Listen.
What I do want to talk about is I've been recently told the reason they're going to be releasing these things and the reason for the flip is that they're sanitizing these files. There's a facility in Winchester, Virginia, where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out of it. That's what I was told by a pretty good source.
There you go. Literally even saying it's happening in Winchester, Virginia. Okay, well, look at this. Fox News confirms that the DOJ hid the identities of what they call politically exposed individuals in the Epstein files. Fox News Digital has learned that the same redaction standards were applied to politically exposed individuals and government officials. So this is a fancy schmancy way of saying we are absolutely positively going to protect the Republicans, going to protect Trump, going to protect the people in the regime, and we are going to immediately throw any Democrats that we possibly can directly under the bus. So look at this. Ro Khanna reported that Kash Patel said he had 300 gigabytes of Epstein files. And guess what was released yesterday? Only 2.5 gigabytes have been released. That's less than 1% of the Epstein files were released yesterday. They are flagrantly breaking the law. Flagrantly. So again, we'll talk more in a little bit about what's being done about that. How about this? Entire documents and image and video albums redacted in today's release of the Epstein files. There's like a 116-page grand jury thing. Every single part of that, completely and utterly redacted. Every single part of that. I mean, look at this. This is a joke. This is a joke. Most transparent administration in history, my ass cheeks, is all I have to say about that. All right, more. So this is where they forgot or they messed up and were attempting to redact everything involving Trump, but they missed some stuff. So look at this. Guess the DOJ forgot to redact these pictures of Trump found in Epstein's desk drawer. So if you look closely here, like many pictures in this, it's almost like he had a drawer full of Trump pictures. A drawer full of Trump pictures here. And then, of course, you have the Epstein picture with Mohammed bin Salman, the leader of Saudi Arabia. You have him with one of the previous popes. So, man, they had a lot of dirt on homie. It looks like there's literally a Trump drawer here. Also, you see like a stack of papers. I wonder what these papers are in the Trump drawer. I mean, this is stuff that should be released. By law, it has to be released, but they're refusing to release it. But they messed up and accidentally left in. You can see some of the Trump pictures here. Look at the bottom drawer here. See Trump's face. See another picture with Trump and a bunch of women in bikinis underneath it. So they fucked up. They did not mean to release this one. They certainly would have tried to hide this one. And by the way, they also, we'll talk about this more in a second, but when they realized they fucked up, they went back and tried to remove this stuff. I'm not kidding. So the whole world saw it. They posted about it. They showed it. And then when it became clear to Kash Patel and the FBI idiots and the DOJ and Pam Bondi, they go, oh shit, Trump's going to be bad. Then they went back and removed it. Okay, how about this? Again, they tried to redact stuff, but they missed something here. The check Trump gave to Epstein for $22,500 for a, quote, fully depreciated woman has shown up in a new photo in the Epstein files where Epstein is pictured holding the check, standing next to a woman. Looks like Trump forgot to redact this because if you look at the check here, look at the bottom of the check. What name does that say? It says Trump. And here's another question. Why the fuck is this framed? Why did you frame a picture of Jeffrey Epstein buying a depreciated woman from you, or actually quite the other way around, actually. So Trump buying a depreciated woman from Jeffrey Epstein. Like, you know, it's basically proving the human trafficking allegations. Now, we were ha-ha, hee-hee, we were just joking around and stuff, bro. This is your idea of a joke? Let's go get a comically large check made that says my name on it where I'm buying a woman for $22,500? Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. So this is the picture. They accidentally forgot to redact the part that says Trump, which is hilarious. And then also the original picture. This is the original picture here. So these were separate pictures that were taken with this check. Apparently they were taking pictures all over the place with this check at Mar-a-Lago, by the way. But there you have it. You have the purchasing of a fully depreciated woman. Imagine for a second, this was any Democratic president, you would never hear the fucking end of it. They would say, oh my God, pound the gavel, it's over. This guy's some sort of disgusting pervert. This is crazy. This is crazy. All right. Thousands of Epstein photos are releasing. So I believe here we have a video, and I'm going to go ahead and play it for you, and we'll pause as we see fit. Here we go. All right, so this is Bill Clinton wearing a red hoodie with I don't know who. Jeffrey Epstein wearing some sort of robe. It looks like either on his island or some other tropical getaway. We have, this is the one that everybody's talking about here. So we have Bill Clinton in a pool and looks to be shirtless. It does kind of look like he's wearing, a swimsuit, though. It looks like darker in the area where the swimsuit is. So it looks like he's wearing a swimsuit, but who knows who the hell else is in this pool with him, and they redacted the face here. Somebody did, shout out to Political Punk on YouTube, because he did, he went and found out what pool this was. Apparently this is like the Empire Hotel in Brunei is where they were. That's where this pool is. All right, let's keep going here. You have Jeffrey Epstein with, I don't even know what's going on here. It looks like underage girls, maybe, kneeling almost in some sort of like monastery type situation, and he's looking at them. Very bizarre. Very bizarre. Ghislaine Maxwell with the puppy, dressed in some Air Force attire, it appears like. Bill Clinton, somewhere in Asia, it looks like, wearing a suit. Bill Clinton with somebody else, wearing a Jordan shirt. Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, maybe some other people here that are famous that I can't, think of at the moment, but almost looks like they're at some hibachi place, right? Bill Clinton with somebody else, Kevin Spacey walking in, this looks like Central Park in New York City, but I mean, I could be wrong about that. But you have Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, some other people. I mean, it looks like, I don't know. Is this from when he was president? I doubt it, but maybe from just when he was out of the presidency. Chris Tucker, who went on many trips with Jeffrey Epstein. Let's keep going here. Jeffrey Epstein with, I don't know, some very large-looking feral dogs. Here we have Bill Clinton with, shit. I don't know who that is. It kind of looks like it might be Virginia Giuffre. But some young woman, some young girl, it appears like. Let's keep going. This one is Michael Jackson, Diana Ross. Now, the two faces that are blacked out here, that are redacted, it's actually their kids. So, and now I should also point out, this picture was already released, I believe it was in like 2003 or something like that. This picture came out, so it was already part of the public record. But because of the redactions, it makes it look like, they were directly involved with Epstein, and that's a little bit misleading. So, and we'll have more on that in a little bit. How they try to do some head fakes here to get people talking about something other than Donald Trump, and this was one of them. But it kind of fell flat because people were able to see through it. All right, we got a dinner here with Mick Jagger. Looks like Ghislaine Maxwell, Bill Clinton, and then some other people I don't know. There's Mick Jagger and Ghislaine Maxwell, Bill Clinton, Mick Jagger, Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know who these people are, but there's Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton. Chris Tucker with somebody. Don't know who either one of these guys are. Don't know what's going on here. Looks like some sort of karaoke bar or something. I'm not exactly sure. Jeffrey Epstein, don't know where this is. It almost looks like it's like Greece or some shit. Right? You got this tiny helicopter, Jeffrey Epstein, the Huntress, Georgetown, CI. Okay. This one is crazy, right? Because this guy, he looks like some fat billionaire, right? I don't know who it is, but it looks like some fat billionaire. He's on the phone. Then you see Jeffrey Epstein standing there with what is clearly an underage girl. Clearly an underage girl, right? So this looks like Jeffrey Epstein is like delivering an underage girl to a fat billionaire to do you know what. So absolutely disturbing this one is. Holy cow. All right, and then we have some other documents here. I got so much more to show you, so let's jump into that. So this is the power of deceit via redaction. Epstein's 95-page black book was published in full 5 years ago. I thought it was actually longer than that. Wasn't it Gawker that published it? MJ's contact in it was Sam Jen, an attorney for a very short-term advisor to MJ, to Michael Jackson. But a new DOJ release, you'd believe this was MJ's direct details within it. So they redacted everything underneath it and made it look like, oh, look, this is Michael Jackson stuff in Epstein's black book. But it wasn't. It said Michael Jackson up top, but it was really his attorney, Samuel Jen, and it had the information for his attorney. So this is them. It's like they're trying to divert attention and like, oh yeah, talk about Bill Clinton, talk about Michael Jackson, whatever you do not talk about Donald Trump. And so this was incredibly dishonest, the way that they handled this one here. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is just flat out dishonest. All right, let's go. We got some more here. So I told you that when they accidentally left some Trump stuff in there, they went back and removed it. File 468 is now missing. It was one of the few files that showed Trump. They deleted that one, which looks like the clearest sign yet of a cover-up. So this is what we showed before. He has like literally a Trump drawer that has a whole bunch of Trump pictures in there. Some Trump with what looks like girls, underage girls. And then they went back and removed it. It goes from 467 to 469. So holy cow. Holy cow. They're trying to get ahead of it. Now, this one is honestly, I think one of the craziest things we're going to see is right here. So the day before the full, some of the Epstein files came out, we had the Oversight Dems release some of their Epstein stuff. And you had the Miami Herald do an article releasing some of the stuff they had. And boy, oh boy, was this one a gold mine. So I told you the other day, we have a smoking gun that he was running a human trafficking ring. A smoking gun. Because look at this text message. Look at this. I don't know. Try to send someone else. I have a friend scout. She sent me some girls today, but she asked for $1,000 per girl. I will send you girls now. Maybe someone will be good for Jay. And then it says name, 18 years old, height, measurements, weight, blah, blah, blah. So this is like, they're literally talking like, they're selling a car or something. Like, hey, what's the 0 to 60? What's the horsepower? So on and so forth. They're talking about literally like selling girls. Selling girls here. So caught red-handed on that. We also have little passages from the book Lolita, which is about a famous Fredophile, and he writes some of these passages on these girls. What looks like these underage girls. Jesus Christ. More. So you got more. She was poly at school. Like, what the fuck? More stuff written here. By the way, another point people have made is some of these pictures look like, you know how Trump wrote that that birthday letter to Jeffrey Epstein? It was like a birthday love letter saying, we have a lot in common, Jeff, don't we? Well, it looked like this, right? Like writing inside of a body or writing on an underage girl's body, right? And that's exactly what's going on here. So there might be some sort of connection there as well. So then you have, passport here, Jeffrey Epstein passport here. You have, as we scroll down, I told you, this is another smoking gun that he was running a human trafficking ring. He had all these different passports for girls from all these different countries, post-Soviet bloc countries where there's a lot of poverty. Look at this. All these different passports for all these different underage girls. It is very, very clear what was happening here. It is very clear what was happening here. More of that right here. Lithuania. Passport for a girl from Lithuania. How about this? Noam Chomsky. Noam broke everybody's heart, man. Holy shit, Noam. You broke everybody's heart, man. So here's Noam on Epstein's private jet. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You got Bill Gates, who, of course, his wife divorced him because he was so close with Jeffrey Epstein, and she was going, this is weird. This is kind of unacceptable. We have Woody Allen here with Jeffrey Epstein. That is unsurprising given Woody Allen's history, if you know what I'm saying. We have this billionaire dinner. Jeffrey Epstein set up this billionaire dinner, and David Brooks, the conservative commentator, is there. This guy was just poo-pooing the Epstein scandal in November. It turns out he was part of the Epstein scandal. He was at this billionaire dinner. Here he is having a grand old time, smiling into the camera. Here's another one of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's some of these guys, as I keep scrolling here. Some of these guys are well known. You have Elon Musk was at this dinner. You have Jeff Bezos. He was at this dinner. I don't see their pictures in this one here, but I saw their pictures yesterday when seeing other pictures from this dinner. You have, this is anti-STD medicine here, and UTI medicine here. We have, what else we got? Is this from that same dinner? I'm not sure if this is from that same dinner or not. But a lot of this stuff is chilling. How about this one? Here's Jeffrey Epstein with clearly an underage girl. It appears like in a helicopter pointing out the window. How about this one? Here's Jeffrey Epstein with 3 girls. I don't know if he's putting on a watch or nail filing or something in this picture here, but 2 other girls there. And Lord only knows what goes on when the camera's off. And also you got this weird picture in the background with this giant awkward smile. I don't know what's going on with that. Very, very disturbing. We got more. Did Jeffrey Epstein in a traditional Saudi outfit, right? This is a traditional Saudi outfit. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff here. I don't know who some of these people are here. Sloppy Steve Bannon, who was Epstein's PR guy at the end of his life. More with Sloppy Steve. By the way, people have pointed out the picture on the desk here. Very disturbing. It's Epstein with an underage girl. Very, very disturbing stuff. So this was all, again, to be clear, all this stuff, this is the weird temple that's on his island. People still to this day don't even know what the hell this shit was used for. Weird temple on his island. Very bizarre. But this was all the stuff that was released the day before the Epstein files released. The Miami Herald had an incredible article basically proving he's doing international human trafficking. And a lot of this stuff came out before. Okay, more. Now, this is probably some of the most disturbing stuff from the actual 1% that was released. You're going to see a lot of redactions here, but this is one of those ones where I understand why there are redactions, because holy cow. So, here's Jeffrey Epstein. And you have the face redacted. It appears like an underage girl. It appears like an underage girl. Okay, more. Once upon a time, there was a clueless little girl. How do I look? And you see it's an underage girl, right? Holy shit. Then, what is he doing? He wouldn't. Elastic. I mean, this is not subtle. This is not subtle what's going on here. Underage girl, Jeffrey Epstein, what the fuck? I don't know why this one is upside down. I met you, those eyes are blue, and the little teeth. What? The little teeth. Holy shit. This looks like we're looking at something totally illegal. I mean, let me just say that. There was a blank little girl. How do I look? Oh my god. Like attempted thirst trap postings of what's clearly an underage girl. Jesus Christ. I played the cards I was dealt. What? Here you have, again, pictures of an underage girl or multiple underage girls, the private jet. First Xmas, oh my goodness, I will be the first. What? came, is my cover blown? What could this be? Oh my God. I learned, what? It looks like, what does he have him on a leash here or something? Looks like he has him on a leash here. Looks like he's licking something here too. Oh man. And grew. I don't know. Here's two girls. Is that Jeffrey in the middle, or is that another girl? I don't know. Here's another picture of a little girl kneeling on the beach, I guess. I beautified, and there's like injections into his head or something. Okay. Took care of you. Oh, God. Golf cart, and it says B. Him and, I guess, the girl again. 4, and it's Epstein with a sword, and before and after. Okay, wearing a suit. Not quite sure what's going on here. Brazil, Berlin, Czech Milk, Prague, Dubai. We traveled. Jesus Christ. You're the beast. Oh, really? You're so sweet to me. I like Prague. I know. I am working on number 3. Okay, Paris, it says. Fencing is going on. We fought. Then hugged. Oh, what the fuck? We laughed. 1 ham, please, no mustard. What are we looking at? This is on the Department of Justice website, y'all. This is on the Department of Justice website. Don't know what's happening here. I will get you. Now you drive. 2007, September 17th. Again, more. Look, you could tell this is an underage girl. Look at how young this girl looks. The face is redacted, but that's a young girl. That's a young girl. What the fuck? Here's another one with Jeffrey Epstein, seemingly an underage girl. So that is disturbing. That's like, a long, detailed thing about a seeming relationship he had with an underage girl. How about this? From the Epstein files, weird text messages sent to or from Epstein's cell, not sure which, references expired name reservations for Max Mira Films, Inc., which is an inversion of Miramax, the company owned and run by Harvey Weinstein. So that's the thing. We already knew Harvey Weinstein met with Jeffrey Epstein, and what didn't they meet at Prince Andrew's, like one of these castles, one of these official royal castles in the UK? There's a picture of them all together, and apparently Weinstein frequented Jeffrey Epstein's services, let's say. And so this is some evidence of that as well here. Jeffrey Epstein kept a boat log of people who visited his boat at Little and Greater St. James Island. Many of the names have been redacted. Yes, many of the names being Republicans, being MAGA, and being billionaire donors. Those are the names that are redacted. Obviously, you left in all the stuff about Bill Clinton because you wanted everybody to be talking about Bill Clinton. All right, how about this? So you guys know this photo came out not that long ago. Jeffrey Epstein wearing an IDF sweatshirt. Well, it turns out the FBI found that exact sweatshirt and took a picture of it when they raided Jeffrey Epstein's properties. So there's that sweatshirt right there. We also have, Daily Mail points out, Epstein's depraved handbook revealing he would make sure girls were underage exposed in files. So he would check their ID to make sure they're under 18, not over 18. Isn't that insane? I've never heard anything like that. So he would check the ID to make sure they were under 18. This came out in the files. More pictures of Jeffrey Epstein with young children have been released by the DOJ. One right here. I think we already saw that one. This one here, I think we saw this one as well. This one on the private jet. And another one right there with the young girl sitting on his lap. Just, ugh. How about this one? Some of the stuff that the DOJ released, it says CSAM not scanned. CSAM stands for child sexual abuse material. That's what that stands for. So there's pages and pages and pages of CSAM. Jeffrey Epstein ordering books on sexual slavery off Amazon. It says in the middle here, the middle book here, it says Slavecraft Roadmaps for Erotic Servitude, Principles, Skills, and Tools. What the fuck? Training with Miss Abernathy, a workbook for erotic slaves and their owners. Jesus Christ. Breaking, Trump's name appears dozens of times in the flight logs to Epstein's Island. Trump was on Epstein's Island. And then you scroll down and you see here, Not only did Trump go, it was Trump and his wife at the time, Marla Maples, and it was Tiffany. Tiffany's his daughter. Tiffany's like the outcast daughter, but Tiffany was the daughter. So according to the flight logs, she was there on Epstein Island. Jesus Christ, I hope that nothing happened to her. My God, man. That's so disturbing. All right, how about this? Yashar Ali points out, from the Epstein files, Epstein threatening to burn someone's house down if they revealed he stole photos of young girls and sold them and had other photos taken. Holy shit. Holy shit. So, guess what? As they point out here, in 1996, Maria Farmer bravely became the first woman to go to the authorities about Jeffrey Epstein. She warned that he stole photos of her 12 and 14-year-old sisters to possibly sell. I just spoke to her and she says she is over the moon that this has come out. She is crying with her sister because this validates her entire story. It proves she was telling the truth. And the FBI, for a decade, did nothing. The FBI was told, this creepy guy, he stole photos of my 12-year-old and 14-year-old siblings, and Lord knows what else he's up to. This guy's a pedophile. You got to do something about this. The FBI sat on that for a fucking decade and did nothing. This verifies everything Maria Farmer said. Holy shit. Holy shit. All right. Epstein's foundation funded transhumanist projects like Peter Thiel's life extension research and Ray Kurzweil's AI work at the Machine Intelligence Research Institute. It also financed MIT's Media Lab and Harvard's Program for Evolutionary Dynamics, described as updated eugenics. So anytime you hear Peter Thiel talking about transhumanism and, making it so that we evolve out of being humans and into something better, into something more cyborg-like, just remember, this is Epstein stuff here. This is Epstein stuff. They're working on updated eugenics. That's what they want to do. They are anti-human. They were all part of this anti-human project, this cabal of disgusting fredophile billionaires. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. All right, then we have this. Ro Khanna says, whatever Epstein files the DOJ produces will be thoroughly cross-checked with the survivors' attorneys to make sure nothing was illegally omitted. So he came out in reaction to what went down here, and he is not mincing words. Let's listen.
What's the process going to be now to go through it and make sure they actually abided by this law?
Well, first, they need to do the documents. We're going to review them. We're going to have survivors' lawyers review them. Second, we're going to see what explanation they're providing on the redactions. Have lawyers and survivors' lawyers review them. Third, we're going to see what explanation they provide Congress within 15 days of what things they had classified or things that they could not release and whether they were legitimate. And fourth, we're going to see on the timeline, when are we going to get the rest of the documents? But anyone who is not in compliance is subjecting themselves to prosecution. And then depending on overall how we assess the release, Pam Bondi could be subject to impeachment, to inherent contempt. But I don't want to prejudge that. I mean, if they really are complying, I'll be the first person to say they're complying. I mean, I much rather they comply and survivors get justice and we get closure than Massey and I are looking at how to hold Pam Bondi with inherent contempt.
So I have some breaking news for you here. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey are moving ahead with impeachment on Pam Bondi. They're moving ahead with impeachment because they violated the letter of the law and the spirit of the law so fucking thoroughly that they have no choice but to do it. So shout out to Ro Khanna, shout out to Thomas Massey. They're really leading the charge here. We got more from Ro Khanna.
We're actually this morning talking, and we said, look, we're willing to give them some benefit of the doubt as long as the quality of the release is substantive. But what we found out is the most important documents are missing. They've had excessive redactions. And the central question that Americans want to know, who are the other rich and powerful men on the island raping these young girls or covering up, has not been answered.
So those two documents that you were told by the survivors' attorneys that are the most important, the indictment that came out before Jeffrey Epstein got a sweetheart deal and an 82-page memo backing up why he should be charged, neither of those are in this release tonight.
Neither of them are in the release. And to the extent the drafter's intent of a law matters, Thomas Massey and I explicitly drafted it to cover those two documents. And you had 3 federal judges look at our law and say, release everything in terms of the grand jury. You had judges saying, release it, and then the Department of Justice is redacting it. Now, I know what they're thinking. They think, okay, it's going to be Christmas. They're going to do this release, and people are going to move on. I would just remind them that's what they thought, that the Trump administration thought when they shut down Congress early before the August recess.
All right, we're still not done, though. We're still not done. You won't find in today's Epstein doc release the following stuff. This is from Politico. Interested in records that would help explain how Epstein grew so wealthy? None to be found. Want to read emails from federal prosecutors deciding who to charge and, equally importantly, who not to charge during their 2019 investigation? You're out of luck. Curious about the role of Maureen Comey, the prosecutor who co-led the probes into Epstein and his co-conspirators, Ghislaine Maxwell, before being fired without explanation in July? Nothing from her to see here. Holy shit. Holy shit. So there's all this stuff is missing, brazenly missing. Like I said, less than 1% of the actual files were released. We have more. We have more. Here's Ro Khanna yet again, this time on CNN. Let's listen.
Appreciate the point. Congress is gone for now, so it won't happen at least until January. Let me ask you quickly in closing. The Deputy Attorney General said he's received no orders from the President to redact documents, to leave his name out of it, and leave other names out of it. Do you trust that?
I don't know what the president has said, but what I do know is that his production violates the spirit of the law, and it violates the letter of the law, and it's a slap in the face of survivors. And so, look, they have underestimated this issue for 6 months. I don't get it. Just release the files, get it over with. The president can talk about affordability and the economy. They're the ones who continue to play these games that make this a bigger and bigger issue. And Congress is talking about possible impeachment. They're talking about inherent contempt for the Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General. Any Justice Department official who has obstructed justice could face prosecution in this administration or a future administration. And the last word, like I said, is going to be the survivors. Americans don't trust politicians that much. They trust those women. And they are going to be back on the Hill, and the country will hear from them.
Congressman Ro Khanna, appreciate.
So like I said, it's now official. They're going to move. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie are moving on impeachment for the head of the DOJ, Pam Bondi. And hopefully this works, because a lot of Republicans are pissed too. A lot of Republicans are pissed too with how they're hiding these Epstein files. How about this? Epstein dies in prison while Trump is president. The DOJ closes Epstein's case while Trump is president. Ghislaine Maxwell is moved to a more comfortable prison while Trump is president. The GOP kept voting not to show the Epstein files while Trump is president. Congress forces the DOJ to show the files by today, but they refuse because Trump is president. Do you get it now? Do you understand what's in those files? Trump wasn't only Epstein's buddy. They were twin predators. They were twin predators. And this says here from Brian Tyler Cohen, breaking: the Trump administration announces they will not be complying with today's deadline to release the full Epstein files. They insist the files will be released in the next couple weeks. How many times have we heard that? How many times have we heard that? This is from Dean Obadala. DOJ must release hard drives of the video Jeffrey Epstein secretly took of people entering his houses. Photos below are the hard drives confiscated by the DOJ from Epstein's New York City house and were marked as exhibits in Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. We need to see who abused the women and girls. But guys, look at this. This was all in Jeffrey Epstein's house. All of this stuff that you're seeing, look at this. All of this, countless videos of what went on in his properties, plural, not singular, plural. Remember, there was an email that came out from 2011 from Jeffrey Epstein's emails saying Trump is at the house right now with one of the victims. He's been there for hours. That was this house in New York. Okay? So we know there's blackmail on the president. The president can be coerced. There's blackmail on the president, and Jeffrey Epstein had it, which means potentially the KGB had it and Mossad had it. Okay? And you wonder why Trump's selling out Ukraine. You wonder why Israel's getting literally anything and everything they want. Trump did a fake peace agreement and then allowed them to continue the genocide and the ethnic cleansing. You wonder why. Again, he's blackmailed. So not only is this, I go a step further than Dean here. Dean says, oh, let's see who was at his apartment. Not only that, let's see what was going on in those rooms. Who was in those rooms, right? That's what we need to see. He said the Epstein Files Transparency Act requires that today, December 19th, the DOJ make publicly available in searchable, downloadable format all unclassified records documents. They didn't do that. But he's right, that there's all these other files. We're not seeing any of them. We haven't seen any of them. Do you guys remember this? During one of his depositions? Listen to this.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Have you ever...
Wow. That is such a damning video, y'all. That is such a damning video. Do people realize how much of a red flag that is, given the nature of that question? It means, yes, of course he was talking to underage women with Trump, under the age of 18. All right, how about this from Trump File? This encounter between Trump and an Epstein victim has already been reported on, but since it's circulating today like it's new, here it is for those who haven't seen it. Look at this. During one of Jane Doe's encounters with Epstein, he took her to Mar-a-Lago, where he introduced her to its owner, Donald J. Trump. Introducing 14-year-old Doe to Donald J. Trump, Epstein elbowed Trump playfully, asking him, referring to Doe, "This is a good one, right?" Trump smiled and nodded in agreement. They both chuckled, and Doe felt uncomfortable, but at the time was too young to understand why. That just came out the other day, too, that Trump would give Epstein, how he had a teenage modeling agency. He gave Jeffrey Epstein, basically menus of the girls to pick from, whichever one he wanted. We know Jean-Luc Brunel was tied in closely with these guys. Jean-Luc Brunel, notorious pedophile, ended up killing himself in prison in 2022. Do you guys understand what's going on here? That what we're talking about is a human trafficking ring? That you have the trafficking of underage girls. Some of them didn't even speak English. Do you understand that? All right, now let me also show you this. New recorded footage shows Donald Trump judging a modeling event in 1991. So this actually isn't new. But given the context of what you now know, think about how bizarre and how gross and how weird it is that he's doing this. Now, mind you, this is a guy who literally went on Howard Stern and said he owned Miss Teen USA or whatever it was, or Miss Teen Universe, I forget which one. But he said, I would walk in to the changing room where the girls are changing, and since I own the place, I was allowed to do it. And I'd say, "Oh, is everybody okay in here?" And he would look at their bodies, their naked bodies, their underage naked bodies. This is what Trump said to Howard Stern's face. This is what he said. A predator to the max, admitting he's a pedophile there. And here he is. Look at this. Watch.
58 contestants participated in an
There he is. Look at him. Look at this creep.
exhaustive round of personal interviews designed to help our judges discover what makes each one special.
Your 5'9" reading? Serious, huh? We made measure again tonight before the Okay. Thank you very much, Amy.
The concentration was intense inside the judging room.
Look at how young these girls are. Look at how young these girls are.
And out.
I'm just so excited.
Each girl was considered not only for her beauty and poise, but also for her personality.
So like I said, less than 1% of the files were released. They're hiding this. There's a massive cover-up. Trump's doing a massive cover-up because he knows how guilty it is. So let's just remember, Epstein is on literal audio tape saying he was Trump's best friend for a decade. Okay? We know that because of Michael Wolff. He was smart enough to record the back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein. He had hours-long interviews with him. Epstein said Trump was my best friend for a decade. Trump was on Epstein's plane at least 7 times that we know of. Well, now we know he also went to the island. We know that now. The first time Trump and Melania had sex was allegedly on the Lolita Express, which was Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile plane. Epstein literally knew the inner workings of the Trump White House. He knew the inner workings because he was so plugged in at the highest levels, not just of U.S. government, but plugged in at the top of the Israeli government, at the Russian government. He's basically a freelance spy working with intelligence agencies with a tremendous amount of blackmail and all rich and powerful people all across the world. Okay? Trump and Epstein shared a girlfriend. He also passed off a 20-year-old girl to Trump in 1993. Trump wrote a creepy love letter to Epstein on his birthday. Trump offered Epstein a job in his first term in order to try to keep him quiet. Then what ended up happening, he was locked up under Trump's term, and he was killed during Trump's term. In federal custody, by the way. Incredibly sketchy. Reports are that Epstein learned human trafficking from Trump's modeling agency. You all know that Trump hosted a private event at Mar-a-Lago with teen models, and it was only Trump and one other person there, Jeffrey Epstein. And I haven't even gotten started on the other pictures that we know exist because Michael Wolff told us about them. Like, for example, the picture Epstein had of Trump, where there's 3 girls there, girls of an uncertain age, they say. They're underage, right? And Trump has a stain on his pants, and he's standing there smiling, and the other girls are pointing at him and laughing. Gee, I wonder what that stain was on his pants. Turns out this wasn't part of the Epstein files batch that was released. Gee, I wonder why. It's insane what we're looking at here. It is insane. Epstein, by the way, was still leaking stuff to the media about Trump before he died in the custody of the feds. So he was, up until the day he died, he was dropping little clues, little hints, little bits of evidence. And that's perhaps why Trump felt so threatened. And I haven't even mentioned the Katie Johnson lawsuit from 2016 about how in 1994, Epstein and Trump allegedly raped a 13-year-old. Now, she dropped that lawsuit in 2016, but, my guess is it's because she was threatened and she didn't want to fucking have her life ruined or be killed for blowing the whistle on what the disgusting pedophile president did. So that's where we're at, man. Epstein also knew everything about Mar-a-Lago's financing, including mortgage fraud. He was tied in, bro. He was tied in. So this is what we have at the moment. And I wanted to make sure to come here on this Saturday for you guys and give you all the updates and show you all the pictures and stuff. But needless to say, I got my eye on what's happening. Go Ro Khanna and go Thomas Massie. Let's impeach Pam Bondi because they flagrantly violated the law here. And Trump is the head of the snake. But we gotta take them down one by one because these guys are criminals. They're criminals. They're guilty. They need to go down. And these victims deserve the full, unfiltered, unvarnished truth.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.